Our game, Mist Insignia, is a 2D exploration strategy game where you control units in order to either defeat all enemy units or reach their castle. We did not make the game with any narrative in mind, but it is heavily inspired by games from the Fire Emblem franchise and other similar strategy games. You could say that the main narrative is that of two rivaling clans aiming for domination of the land. This is also part of our intended player experience, namely to get a sense of satisfaction when you progress through the map. At the same time, a sense of urgency is present, because the enemy units are also attacking you behind the fog, trying to halt your progression. For the style of our game, we went for a more medieval theme, as we believed this would fit the strategy part of the game best. Most of the assets we used are stylized in a more pixel art theme. This decision was mainly based on aesthetic reasons, and we thought it would fit the 2D aspect of the game better. The core gameplay is focused around defeating enemy units and progressing through the map. There are, however, different types of units, with each their strengths and weaknesses. Defeating units is based on a rock paper scissors logic, where a sword type unit defeats an axe type more easily, an axe type beats a lance type, and lance beats sword. This is derived from the mechanics of Fire Emblem, where the same terms are used, although in those games even more unit types are available. All of the units, both enemy and players, are currently melee ranged due to the difficulties and time constraints of our team, incorporating ranged units and battle capabilities. We thought this would suit our game theme just fine. We had chosen the themes exploration and strategy. For us, this was the most logical and most feasible within the time given to complete. We have incorporated exploration into our game in the form of so-called fog of war. This obscures parts of the map so that enemy units that are covered by the fog cannot be seen. As a reward for the exploration, there are placed recruitment houses that give you additional units. A player-controlled torchbearer can turn on lighthouses that clear parts of the fog and will remain on for the duration of the game. As part of the enemy units, we included a witch. If you manage to kill this unit, all the fog will clear from the map. For the strategy part, this is incorporated in almost all of the gameplay. Since we chose a turn-based strategy game, carefully choosing where to place your units requires some level of forward thinking and planning. For example, they cannot walk on water tiles, and they need to be mindful of enemies within the fog, making use of the combat advantage system. For this assignment we had to come up with ideas of our own, in stark contrast with the first assignment where we had some guidelines. We had to be mindful of the player experience as well, not only of what we like to see in the game. One such an example includes the design of the lighthouse for clearing up the fog of war. This asset is designed after an actual lighthouse to make it clear that light will come from it. Our intention for the player is that they also understand that the lighthouse serves this function. Another example to aid the player is the distinction between their own units and enemy units. Your own units have a blue color, while enemy units are designated a red color. This follows common color coding in the video game industry, where blue is friendly and red is the enemy. Finally, a different example of a design decision is that of the map size. Initially the map was twice as large as the current map. To fit the time limit, but also with player engagement in mind, we had to shrink the map size. If the map was too big, we believed that the player could lose interest halfway through the game and give up. We of course don't want that. Keeping the player interested is surely an important part of the game, and it was also one of the hardest to implement for us. How do you make sure that the player doesn't give up halfway when you have something big planned at the end of the game? And how does the player know where to go and what to do next? In our game we were limited to only 2, maybe 3 parts. The map layout, the units, both your own and enemy, and the placement of the recruitment houses and lighthouses. In other words, the structures on the map. To start off, the layout of the map is designed in such a way that it is easy to know where you have to go in order to win the game. Tiles of dirt create a path through the vast stretches of grassland. Some meandering side paths lead to extra recruitment houses, while the main road takes you straight to the enemy castle. Next, to help the player when first starting out, recruitment houses are placed within reach of the units to build up an army. This hopefully helps to overcome the first few enemy units before facing a larger group of them later on. These first enemy units also serve as a sort of tutorial for the player. Only one is placed in close vicinity to the player's units. This way the players eased into the gameplay and can get comfortable with the game mechanics.
This assignment provided us with a lot of freedom to come up with ideas of our own. However, it was hard to contain the flow of creativity. Lots of ideas that we had to improve our game had to be scrapped because of time constraints. One of these ideas was different types of UI indicators for varying things. For example, we wanted to make it more clearly how and when you could recruit a new unit, like showing options of what you can do during a turn. This is shown briefly with the help button, but adding a real-time UI indicator would have helped, or turn options pop up when we approach a recruitment house. Sadly, we thought it might have overcrowded the current UI we have. Losing health now is not visualized. We would have liked to have this updated in real time with perhaps a health bar above the unit. Currently, it is only displayed by numbers in the unit information, and the numbers don't update automatically. They only update after you switch the views between unit information. To finish, you can stand on a specific tile in where the enemy castle should be. This tile, however, is not clearly indicated, another point of interest. Also, there's no delay between action and movement, so the moment the player unit reaches the winning tile, the game ends immediately without the movement finishing. We tried to make a delay between action and movement, but with the time that we have, it was not possible. When units are finished with a move, you can still click on them and interact with them. The same concept applies to recruitment houses. They still look the same when a unit has been recruited, but after that you cannot get another unit from that same house. It would be nice to have them both grayed out when the turn of that unit has completed and when the house's units has been recruited. In addition to this, the player has to manually end the turn when all player units have been used. It would have been nice to have it automatically. We did not do this due to time constraints. Overall, the map could have done with a few more details. We found an asset of a castle for both teams. Sadly, we could not fit it in the map. We also wanted to improve on the map design. Currently, it is only bare bones type of tiles, indicating the 3 types of terrain. It would have been nice to make the map design more aesthetically pleasing, as they came in the asset pack, but this was unfortunately not possible in the time given. All in all, there are lots of opportunities to improve our game even more, but we are confident in where the game stands now. We hope you enjoy our game.